international troops help the situation in Iraq?
Katie, you've asked me 3 different times, and I have said repeatedly that there is no doubt that our troops helped to reduce violence.
But yet you're
There's
saying,
no doubt.
and I really don't mean to belabor this, Senator, because I'm trying to figure out your position. Do you think the level of security in Iraq would exist today without the surge?
Katie, I have no idea what would have happened had we applied my approach, which was to put more pressure on the Iraqis to arrive at a political reconciliation.
That was Senator Barack Obama on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric. She didn't think, apparently, he was giving a straight answer. I do, about the surge in Iraq. For reaction, we continue with Fox News contributor Karl Rove. You know, CBS actually took out an answer that John McCain gave about the surge, which turned out to be wrong. When John McCain said the surge, because of that, we were able to go out and protect the Sheik and others, and it began the Anbar Awakening. When he got the timeline wrong, the Anbar Awakening happened first, and that helped what happened afterwards, including, and CBS refused to air that.
Well, Alan, first of all, let's not get into sort of nit-nat mistakes. After all, Barack Obama said we need more Arabic translators in Afghanistan. They don't speak Arabic in Afghanistan. He said yesterday Israel is Israel's greatest friend. He talked earlier about visiting 57 states.
What about the issue of his timeline being wrong on the Anbar Awakening and the surge?
Well, look, this is. Let's not get into this. You've got a guy who said earlier, and contrary to what Congressman Adam Smith said, with all due respect to Congressman Smith, Sean is right. Barack Obama said that our troops in Afghanistan were just air raiding villages and killing civilians. If you want to talk about mistakes and misstatements,
civilians do die in war, Carl, but you're not responding to what John McCain said, which was actually wrong.
I'd be happy.
And it was left out of the CBS interview.
Alan, I'd be happy to respond if you like. Would you like me to respond? Yeah. Okay. My point is that, look, he had his timing wrong. You're right. But don't make a big deal of it, because if you do, you're going to then have to make a big deal of all of the misstatements by Barack Obama. Today,
well, you'll do that for me.
Let me finish. Today in Israel, he said that his committee, the banking committee, was responsible for a bill calling for disinvestment in Iran. Well, it's not his committee. He doesn't serve on that committee. This is a guy who, look, if you want to get into substance, let's get into substance.
Absolutely.
In the interview with Katie Couric, Barack Obama said, "There's no doubt the scary situation's improved. It's very encouraging to see the markets opening. Places like Anbar Province, terrific momentum builder. We got to keep on making certain there's progress on these fronts." But then when she specifically asked him, "Don't you have to give credit to the surge for progress?" he says, "No, I don't know what would have happened if we'd followed my strategy." Yeah. Now, you cannot be logically inconsistent like that. You can't, on the one hand, acknowledge that there's been a lot of progress and not have to credit the big change in strategy that helped bring about that change, those improvements.
Hey, Karl, I want to get your thoughts on the media bias, and that is that, you know, John McCain's been there 8 times, and we don't have the big 3 network anchors, the stars going with him. The New York Times, they published Obama's op-ed, but not Senator McCain's. And I want your overall take on the trip abroad in general.
Well, look, first of all, I do think there is a bias here that's coming out. If you want the numbers, the hard numbers, take a look at the Pew Charitable Trust numbers on the coverage. Since February 4th was the last week when there was roughly equal coverage to Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and John McCain. And ever since then, the numbers have been far more coverage, and a lot of it adulatory, of Barack Obama. In fact, this past period that they monitored, over 80% of the stories mentioned substantive comments about Barack Obama, and in the 50s for Senator McCain. So even now, when there are 2 nominees, one person is getting significantly more coverage. And look, you're right. It is fundamentally unfair that when John McCain went on a world tour, none of the news network anchors followed him, and on this one they are. Now, I have to say this. I've been surprised how tough these interviews have been. Katie Couric was tough on him. He had a difficult interview with Moran. He had a difficult interview with Charlie Gibson. I mean, we're seeing them bring up some tough questions that he's not ready to answer. So,
Carl, I'm running out of time. Just overall, is this trip a net plus or minus for him?
Absolutely, a net plus. In the short run, it creates an image of he dominates the 5 or 6 days that he's got the biggest coverage on the trip. That is to say, immediately after coming out of Afghanistan and Iraq through the end of the trip, and it's going to be a big plus for him.
All right, Karl Rove, the architect. Always appreciate you being with us, Karl. Thank you.
You bet.